Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish podcast, Walking with Our Shadow, where we share ancient indigenous teachings of remembrance, all so we can walk and learn how to walk a path of radical self-love. Hello, everyone. It's Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish. Here again on another day, another opportunity to welcome into the circle ourselves, those who we are in community with. And today I would love to invite into the circle an amazing human being. This human being is, in one word, I don't think it's even a one word, a badass. I'd like to welcome into the circle Ash Bell from Melbourne, Australia. Hello, Ash.
Hello, thank you. What an introduction. I appreciate that.
I feel sometimes I don't know how to introduce people, and sometimes I wax poetically, but there's so much about you that people probably know and don't know. But you are definitely someone that shows up in all of their life. And that's why I think it was just simple to call you a badass, because you're just a badass.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for that title now. Oh, love it.
So, Ash, we're here sitting in the circle. You are not a stranger to sitting in circles. So why don't we just take our 3 breaths together, inviting wind and this opportunity to share words, and just allow what needs to be shared today to come in with the wind. And so let us call upon Ik, our beloved Ik, wind, and our 3 breath practice as we begin our breathing together. So let us begin in and out through the nose. This first breath, inviting and welcoming our mind into this time and space. In and out through the nose, inviting and welcoming our body into this time and space. In and out through the nose, welcoming and inviting our essence into this time and space. With all 3 parts, we give gratitude and thanks as we step into the circle, sharing Ik and this 3 breath practice. Beautiful. Thank you so much. So, Ash, why don't you tell us a little bit about your creation story in your own words?
Good question, and lots of different avenues we can go down with this one. Where to begin, Marita? Where to begin? So hello, I'm Ash Bell, like you've already said. I weave together a lot of things in how I live my life and the work that I do and what I put out into the world. I am a student of yours. I work with sound, and I'm a sound healer, and I do Reiki and facilitate cacao ceremonies, and I have a background in social work, and all these different modalities kind of come together. But it's really interesting as well with my life and who I am that my name is Ash Bell, and Bell with the work that I do with sound, which is amazing. People think that's a stage name. And then Ash is, I've gone through a lot in my life. Like I've had cancer and I've done lots of healing. And so my name being Ash, like this rising from the ashes and rebirthing and growing through and from a time of nearly dying. So I'm here now today chatting with you. Which avenue do you want to go down with all of those things?
Well, let's go and have a moment and talk about what you have learned and how has being a cancer survivor changed your life and your practices.
Yes, good question. Okay. The big one that has taken a long time and a lot of hard work, but it's been the most life-changing and the most empowering, is building a relationship with myself. And you did the 3 breath practice with mind, body, essence. And the biggest one in my journey has been building a relationship with my body and trusting this human body that I'm in and all that it's been through and all that it does and how it supports me. But that hasn't always been the case in my life. I've had very fractured relationship with all parts of myself. So yeah, it's this unique and interesting perspective that I have on the world and how I see things and my relationship with myself and time. And there's a lot to unpack from those different areas. But if anything, it's wanting to live my life to the fullest and do as much as I can and share as much as I can from my experience. And with healing and growth comes the power to be able and the ability to be able to support others with their journey as well.
Ash, did you find yourself going into sound healing and going into all the practices now and cacao as a way first to heal yourself, or was this really this call to give and to give back?
Yes. Good. Okay. I keep saying good question. All good questions from you, always. So these practices have all come about as a way to heal myself. And sound has been the one that I've been working with for the longest. So I first came about sound healing when I was having a really hard time and I was really anxious. I'd been in remission for a while. I was physically, I'd healed from cancer. I mean, I was still struggling with fatigue and anxiety, depression, definitely not in a good space. And sound was something that I experienced as a way to soothe that discomfort that I was feeling. Discomfort in my body, discomfort in my mind, discomfort of not knowing where I was going and who I was. So it was a way of bringing me back into myself. And I found with working with cacao and sitting with that plant medicine, that has complemented that as well, that support for myself. And that was the beginning. All these practices were actually I never set out to be a healer or share with others. It was my own personal journey of learning and being curious and growing and finding things that supported myself, that then just by kind of fumbling through things and sharing with people and sharing what I was doing, then this work and business was created over time. And here I am now doing it full time, which is pretty amazing and incredible. And it's feels good, feels really good.
Ash, all of that kind of for me feels and sounds like, and I don't actually see a lot of people sometimes that come into my circles, especially if they're, want to train and how to do ceremony and things like that. I've never really heard as people such as yourself come in and say, I need to do the healing first. And I need to fill my cup first. And I need to learn that first. I feel like many people that are quote unquote called to these circles or to share, want to share. They don't know how to hold in their cup all the medicine that they need first. No wonder you're a badass. Having that practice of being able to hold your healing and allowing yourself that grace instead of just running out and wanting to share it. And so I'm sure, a lot of people I know a lot of people come to you. Do you find that to be kind of the truth, Ash, that a lot of people just kind of want to, get certified and move on and don't take time to fill their cup to maybe a level that they've never been able to hold medicine before?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Marita. I do see that a lot with people that want to learn from me or just in other circles and other people that I see. It's that certification to then share with others, but there's a lot of inner work that needs to happen as well. And I love that you brought this up because I feel like if I don't embody the medicine and the healing, then I don't feel like I'm genuine when I share it. So I do take time to learn things and heal and sit with different parts of myself that I'm healing and resolving and working through, for then that to actually come from a really deep space and also have I feel like I have a lot of integrity behind it as well, because it's not just coming from a textbook ABC, I've learnt this and then I'm sharing it. I'm like, I live it. I breathe it. I study a lot. I heal a lot. I put a lot of time, effort and energy into everything that I do to be able to be in that space and for the healing, for the medicine to come from a really deep part of me.
That's so beautiful, because we still live in a world that a dominant world that says, here's information, learn it, regurgitate it, or do your practice, share those practices. There's this I don't know if it's pressure or if it's martyrdom or any of that, but to take the time to walk the way of wisdom by becoming that medicine first is, it takes time, it takes dedication, it takes resources. And so I love that you have been walking that path of becoming your own medicine for quite some time. And I'd love for you to share about how you continue to deepen your practices. I know you recently came out to Hawaii. How was that in kind of bringing some cohesiveness to some of the practices over at Cuatro Manos Cinco Volcanes and at the Path of Ish?
Where to begin? My experience with you in Hawaii, life-changing. To actually really simplify it, because there's so many things that I can say about this experience. But to simplify it, the lesson is and you talk about this a lot, but I really did feel it. It's the being, not the doing. And I know for myself and my journey, I have at times like really been in my head and just like do. And society's really fast paced at times. And going to Hawaii and learning a different way it was the being. So that integration happened, just to be able to really connect and really just like ground into myself and even out some of that monkey mind and that head chatter that overthinks things or doubts things or that judges myself. I could really just be and be okay in that space too. There was a big shift that occurred for me there.
Now, I know there's been a lot of discussion, and I know you associate with being a star being. We are all star beings in our own right and way. But what can you say to those people out there that are feeling this movement or this call for this ascension that's moving us out of this planet as kind of a movement of progress versus kind of returning back home? What are the steps that you can share with them, you yourself tangoing between the two?
Yeah, it is a tango. Yeah. Star beings. There's lots of us around, and it's definitely been a big struggle for me, wanting to just disconnect and go back to another planet and finding that balance and working with that tango of the stars and the sky and the planets combined with being grounded and being in a human body. And I know, even speaking to you at times, I felt homesick for the stars. And being a human is really hard sometimes. It really is. And especially being really sensitive and navigating the world in different ways. That's why I use all these practices that I do. The sound, cacao, as a way of navigating the world, but to ground as well. So I feel things deeply, frequency, vibration, but having practices that are more grounding helps that feel more comfortable. Being a human makes being a human feel more comfortable, and that comfort of it's okay and this is what we're here to do, is for our essences to have this human experience. So I'm not sure how much I can say about steps, because it is a journey. So I guess step one, knowing that it is a journey and things can't change overnight, but to be okay with the dance and to find practices that support the process and to find people that can help you anchor and connect. And there's also a discipline to it as well, with having practices that you can do on a regular basis to just stay in your body and stay being you and being okay with being you in all that you are. And we're all unique too, so letting go of that comparison of what other people are doing or how they're showing up in the world. That's, again, another big lesson for me, is to just surrender to the fact that I'm a bit weird and wonderful, and that's okay.
I love that, weird and wonderful. That's how I should have introduced you. I love that.
Yeah, they're weird and wonderful, but badass.
Now, I love that what you're saying, and for me, a lot of what you're talking about is really about cohesion, right? Um, I've spoken to a lot of people and they have a really hard time, including yourself, with the word grounded, like being grounded, or now I have to stay here, And so you speak about groundedness as allowing yourself to take in and accept all that you are and be able to unite the heavens and the earth within you. And so with sound as a support, how does cacao do that for you?
Yeah, they're such a good partnership, cacao and sound, because each of them work with the different parts of who we are and brings that together. So, or cacao being a medicine that does unite the heavens and earth within our hearts, that's a big one. But helping us to be okay in the being. So relaxing the physical body, helping the mind to have clarity, helping our heart to expand and to understand the wisdom that we're learning, and to reveal to us all the parts of us that maybe we're finding or experiencing shame or guilt or discomfort around. So shining light on all those shadow parts of us. And with that, helping the essence to shine and to just be and to find the magic in life and to see all the amazing things that are happening around us and happening within us. So that support on the journey and the path of who we are. And I'm saying that because, again, the journey, because it's constant revealing and growing, but not in a way that's like hard and, oh, there's another layer to peel off. It's just like, this is exciting to keep going and to keep stepping up and to keep being okay in our unique, magical ways. Does that answer that question?
I think you did a marvelous job of sharing. And what we haven't really told everyone is that you are the original cacao fairy of Melbourne.
I love all these titles. Thank you. Need to change my resume, my bio.
No, and you have really embraced this cacao from Hawaii, from the island of Hawaii, and are now kind of invested in many ways. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how deep you are invested in Cuatro Manos out there in Australia?
How deep? Well, yes, thank you for these wonderful titles that you're giving me today. The original cacao fairy. So being a student of yours with the cacao facilitator training, and then moving then to mentoring students that are studying and are learning with you, so mentoring in that space. And I have a wonderful range of cacao in Australia that's from Hawaii. So being that go-to person for the Hawaiian cacao as well. So supporting facilitators that are based in Australia, and then doing and holding ceremony for others. So doing a lot of ceremonies across Melbourne, and I'm hoping to then share that in other parts of Australia and sharing the medicine and getting it out there. So I'm doing a lot with cacao. I'm drinking a lot of cacao, but I'm also sharing a lot of cacao. And yeah, it's time to get this medicine out there, and it's pretty amazing stuff. It's incredible. And I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Marita, but there was one stage where there was more Hawaiian cacao with me in Australia than there was in Hawaii for a short period of time. So that says a lot too.
That would be correct. So, we've talked about you being a student in many of my circles. And what does that mean what does being a student in a circle like this mean? There's a lot of people out there that wonder where to find teachers. So let's just talk about that journey of why did you decide to enter into a circle like this after studying social work and doing extensive training with sound bowl healing and Reiki, and I mean you've trained in so many things. What is it that attracted you to walking and learning from an Indigenous teacher?
Yeah. Firstly, Marita, because I love you so much. So I was a very big fan. But I wanted to learn in the right way, and I wanted to have permission, and I wanted to share deep medicine practices knowing where it was coming from. So, I mean, there's lots of different reasons to study, why I studied with you. I needed a teacher that was also very grounded, which you are, and you've taught me a lot about safety and boundaries, and there's so many different energetic practices that I've taken on that has supported my life and the work that I'm doing. And I mean, there's so much to say. But yes, if anything, it's just to be able to share medicine, to be granted permission to go on this path. And I am so comfortable to surrender to the fact that I will always be a student. And that can sometimes be uncomfortable for people as well, like what we said at the beginning, with that mentality that we sometimes get into and some people have of like, I need to get the certification and I need to tick all the boxes to then do the thing and then that's it. But it's the journey, and I've committed to the journey of being a student and walking this path with you as my teacher. Right in the beginning, I will admit that there was a big part of me that had fear around it too. So finding that balance of like, I just knew in the core of me, this is the path that I needed to go on. I felt it. And I know that a lot of students studying with you or a lot of new students coming in feel that too. There's just like this knowing that sits there. And part of that is acknowledging that there's fear, and our mind is like, can think of every reason as well why we're maybe not good enough, or the doubts there, or the reasons why it's not the right time. But it's trusting that instinct inside, and that is what supported me to take that leap of faith as well.
Now, Ash, you are an amazing bridge builder to new ways and old ways. As you stepped into circles like this, what were some of the things that you had to change or learn how to learn? What was that journey? I think many times people romanticize sitting with and learning in circles like this. And sometimes I tell them it's kind of boring because we take a lot of time to do to do things. But it definitely has, I mean, it's not boring. It definitely has its own rhythm. And why don't you talk about just kind of the different rhythm that it has than the kind of fast-paced, 2-day, 3-day trainings or 6-week experiences that are out there that many people consider to be kind of the norm. You've stepped into a space which, as you said, you will probably be in this circle possibly for the rest of your life. So what is that shift that people need to learn to kind of be able to cross that bridge between the speed of modern society and kind of get into these circles and the rhythm of these circles?
It's a deep question, Marita. The word that comes up is humility, and surrendering, and to acknowledge that there's no competition and isn't a space where any of us are better than any other. So the learning and the growing and being open to what's coming. So also being okay with the unknown, because I very much don't know at times. And I have surrendered to not battling with myself about that. So being able to sit, observe, listen, be curious, to be okay with asking questions, to not having that pressure of like, oh, should I know this? Because there's a different pace, a different rhythm, different language, and that can be absorbed in different ways as well. It's not just taking in like the knowledge through the mind, it's like feeling it in the body too. I think I said to you the other day, I mean, I take notes sometimes, but it doesn't always land through the note taking, and I'll read over my notes and it won't make sense, but I can sit and just allow myself to be in a space when you're teaching, and then it will enter a different way. And I hope that makes sense with what I'm trying to explain. Again, I'm not very good at words. I should have said that at the beginning.
I think you're actually excellent with words, Ash, and I think you can embrace the way that you use your words, even though you might feel frustrated that not everyone's understanding. But I think they're excellent, and I'd love for you to share some more words, if that's okay.
Oh, I appreciate that. I very much navigate the world through feeling and sound and instinct and observation. So when I'm feeling something, it's hard to find or articulate it the right way. So it doesn't always come out the way that I want to. But if you've ever seen me in person, I'll try and explain something energetically, and you'll notice that I like move my hands to just kind of create the picture rather than have the words to actually describe what's going on. We sidetracked a little bit there.
No, but it's perfect, because it kind of brings up another part that I wanted to talk about, and that is relationships. These circles that we're in are all about relationships. And so it's not just with ourselves, but it's with nature and alliances that help us, So how has your relationship with nature changed in these circles?
It's changed a lot. I've always been a being who loves being in nature. Being in these circles, it's definitely deepened my relationship. And the biggest learning from that is knowing that I'm not alone, because a lot of my life I have felt very like I didn't belong anywhere, and I wasn't quite sure where I fit. And again, this weird and wonderful being that I am, which I'm embracing, but being with nature and building relationships with the trees and animals and the elements and what's around me, it's just this support that's always there, that we can always connect with and call on, no matter what's going on in our lives, or even what we're wanting to create or move towards, or just to hold and support us if we are having a hard time. So my relationship has deepened so much. As I'm saying this, I'm like looking outside and I can see different trees and butterflies around. And again, there's little reminders of like, thank you for being there, and seeing those blessings just come up in front of me right in this moment. And there's magic in that. And it feels really amazing to be supported.
Now, the way that we teach relationships a lot is a little bit different. And so we talk a lot about having a mutual relationship, not just one of taking or being able to call on, but how is it that you, in your everyday life, Ash, give back? What are the gifts that you give back in gratitude to Mother Earth and to all these beings that support you?
Yeah. So the always asking for permission, always, and asking these beings if they will support me, giving back to nature. And well, giving back can come in different forms. Every time I have a cup of cacao, I'm always offering cacao back to the earth, back to the trees, trusting and feeling into who wants it, when, sitting and being. And even those moments, circling back to my experience in Hawaii, building relationships with different plants by protecting them. I'm going to say this on the podcast, Marita, I used a machete to cut down grass. And even that experience in itself is pretty incredible, to acknowledge the teaching in that too, of protecting different, or how fast weeds grow, and that different plants need protection from other plants, and working with how everything links and works together and how things grow. So yeah, like even gardening and just seeing what's going on is another way to observe and build your relationship with the earth. And what other ways do I give back, Marita? Song and sound.
Mm-hmm. No, these are all beautiful, and I think it really shows that this is not just a way of taking or becoming, but a way of being in balance, being and understanding and being grateful of how to give, and how it can be in small ways. It doesn't always have to be a check. It doesn't just have to be recycling, but it can be just in observing the rhythm of how something is and not imposing your rhythm upon it, and learning from it and learning how to support that rhythm of life. And yes, you did excellent with a machete. Well done.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So I want to start kind of closing this circle soon, but I want to talk a little bit more about cacao, since it's so present in our everyday life. Definitely mine. I know yours as well, since you are the cacao fairy of Australia for Cuatro Manos. Why do you love this cacao? Why is it so different than any of the cacao that is out there? Again, nothing is better or worse, but why is this one the one that you feel is the one that people should have, and people need in their practices now?
I love this cacao so much. Brace yourself with all the love that I have for cacao. So it has a very different energy, and I love how it feels. So the way that it's grown, the energy of the volcanic soil, where it's planted, where it's harvested, how it's harvested in prayer, the way that it has this really beautiful, respected process throughout, from planting to then becoming a disc that we drink. So you can feel the energy of that when you drink it. and the energy of new creation and new beginnings that come out of that. I always say in ceremony, I mean, learning it from you as well, and you can feel it in the energy of this cacao, is to be so intentional with every sip that you take of her, because she's strong and she's powerful, and she can help you create and manifest and bring prayers and wishes to life. So that energy of it is amazing. The way that this cacao, the flow of energy from it, so even with purchasing cacao or coming to a ceremony, everything goes back into the land. So there's this part of it that you know that the flow is going in a good way, and you know who you're giving it back to. And yeah, she's rich and powerful, and oh,
I think you and I could wax on poetically about this cacao forever.
there's so many words that I'm like, I've got to get out all the love that I have from her. The way that she's so, like, the sustainability and how she's ethical too. Like, again, when I say with like the energy of it feels different, because there's such a big issue in the world of slavery and child labor when it comes to cacao plantations, and this cacao has never been touched by any of that, and even that in itself feels different. And then knowing it too, it's just so, yeah, she's this plant medicine, very, very unique. And then the taste again, smooth, not too bitter. There's still a bitterness, but you can drink her very easily. She goes down very well. So yes, I have a very strong love for this cacao. Your turn, Marita.
Yes, and you were able to give back this cacao to the island, all around the island. Tell us about your experience going up Mauna Kea to offer this cacao.
That was so special, because she's grown on the foothills of Mauna Kea. Being able to go to this mountain, which is very sacred. And fun fact, which I love sharing with people, that she's actually the tallest mountain in the world, larger than Mount Everest, because she's measured from the base, which is under the water, to the summit. So sacred mountain in a way that connects to the sky above, the earth below, helps us on this middle plane that we're in. And going up this mountain, just, yes, you could feel that energy. And there's this beautiful altar, and we took a lot of cacao to give back to her and give thanks for all that she's created with this medicine. And that was really emotional, and it was so special. And looking up at the stars, of how clear, even then, how clear the sky is. And I've never seen stars as magic and sparkly as they did when I was standing there offering cacao. So yeah, that was incredible. Really, really beautiful experience.
I'm sure she loved it. It's such an amazing way. I was talking to someone today about mountains, and talking about how mountains, like the sovereignty of mountains, right? Like they should be able to have their space and their way and their language and their relationship, their chosen relationship. So it's beautiful to be able to honor the sovereignty of a mountain by giving back what she gives to us, that balance of heaven on earth on this plane. So thank you, Mauna Kea, for all that you do and how you hold us in the memory of creation. Getting a little emotional there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friend,
Yeah.
anything else that you want to tell people about yourself or about how to sit in a circle with you, any trainings or ceremonies you have coming up, please share with us.
Yes. I do lots of things all the time. So you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Ashbell Official. I hold regular cacao ceremonies, cacao and sound ceremonies, weaving them together. I teach people sound healing if they want to learn. So that's both online and in person. I have been holding online cacao ceremonies as well, so individually and groups. And I do a lot of one on one work with clients to support them on their healing journey. So the one on one work that I do is weaving all the things that I do together. So coaching and healing and energy, a lot of energy work and helping people grow and transform and just be okay with being human and being themselves. So there's always things going on in my world, that's for sure. So follow along, and I hope to see people on the screen or in person at some point. It's so amazing having a global community. So definitely cater for people everywhere.
Yes, and if we are out of cacao here in Hawaii, Ash probably has some. So you can always order our cacao through Ash, whether you are in Australia, servicing all of Australia and New Zealand. And I know you've shipped some to Scotland as well. So follow Ash, and I'm sure she can flap her wings and fly and get some cacao to you as the cacao fairy. Beautiful, Ash.
Oh, that's good. Yes, yes. Online shop. I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Marita.
Don't worry.
Definitely have cacao there.
Definitely,
ashbell.com.au.
definitely have a lot of cacao there. And it has been always a pleasure to be in circle with you. You always talk about how you've accepted being a student. And I want to say that I also, even though I'm a teacher, I'm always a student, not just of my teachers or those that I go to, but also of you. And so I just want to honor you also as a teacher in this circle and the way that you show up and the way that you work so hard to walk that path of radical self love, to face those parts of yourself that not many people want to or be challenged. So, with that, I bow to you, Ashbel, as my
Oh,
teacher and my student in the same time.
thank you, Marita. That's amazing. I really, really appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Well, Ash, why don't you lead us out with 3 breaths as we close this circle, and then we will continue on in a good way.
Okay. Closing down this circle by coming back to the center of your heart and taking a deep breath in and out through your nose, thanking your mind for being here in this time, in this space, in and out through the nose, thanking your body for being here in this time, in this space, in and out through the nose, thanking your essence for being here in this time, in this space, thanking all parts of you, everything that you have been, everything that you are, and everything that you will be. And thank you for listening, and thank you so much, Marita, for for having me on this podcast today.
Yes, and I'm sure we will see each other in another circle very soon. So thank you, Ash. Thanks to your people, to your ancestors, and for all who allow this space and hold this space. And thank you for Cacao for holding the space of today. Thank you. Once again, it is with deepest gratitude that I bow to you for joining me on this podcast, this episode, this circle, this plática, this meditation, this remembering. I hope that you have stayed curious. I hope to see you in the circle again next week. So make sure that you like or follow. Until then, may you be blessed with abundance of peace and radical self-love.